could have saved more if they knew they were slaves, but they're true to their ways. We could have saved more if they knew they were slaves were truly engaged, but they're true to their ways. We could have saved more if they knew they were slaves were truly engaged, but they're true to their ways. Sin popped the cherry and begat a damnation. Involuntary emancipation. Man, I'm just pacing amidst the man I'm facing. I kept my standing station. Me give standing ovation. Yes, we didn't ask for this shit. Let me spit. In a way, the movement lost its way when it lost Che with the aid of U.S. Green Beret. 10-9-6-7, the execution day. I exhumed Che. From the throat, I spit notes of guerrilla warfare. Feel no remorse here. Feel the source here. Even the score here. 40 acres in a tool, and we're pushing for more shares. When Bush brings a leak, I'm checking for force there. Involuntary emancipation. The market free for white corp to do whatever it wants. You're free to spark weed mixed with Arab corner store blunts. Tall tales from Katrina News exaggerate scenes. Velvet speaker cops looting and bagging New Orleans. Power elite will shower the street, devour and creep until I defeat. Lot of mercy, repeat. The power elite will shower the street, devour and creep until I defeat. Lot of mercy. Yes, we detest, but less we test, collect the best, and we address this effing mess. We will arrest this contest, and we invest. Progress must sweat, but let no regrets to attest. Involuntary emancipation. See, we could have saved more, but they didn't know they were slaves. I don't even think they cared that they were slaves. We could have saved more if they knew they were slaves, were truly engaged. But see, they're true to their ways. Involuntary emancipation. Next year, perhaps just the next tear. Perhaps not very long after the stench from the beloved shells of the dead have gone and rotten. Midst the next slice of hell, the living dead will have forgotten. Please believe me, it's easy. After all, we're just refugees. See, yes, we're all just refugees. Trust when I say all, it's in the sense of us, not all in the sense of y'all. No. Essentially what I'm discerning is if mother sent a great natural burning to the alleys and avenue of Mount Vernon, I too would be a refugee. A hearty look goes right before you descend. You naughty, crooked, spiteful children. The great mother has been dissed, mistreated, mom is pissed. She's heated, she's blown atop. She's dysfunctional from global warming. The noble warning your scientists told you. And now that she's vocal, unstoppable scorn. From the pit of her belly she spits tropical storms. But look, it's not like you weren't warned. You wrote the book. Involuntary emancipation. See, we couldn't save those cats cause they didn't think they were slaves. And even the ones that knew, they didn't care that they were slaves. There wasn't nothing that we could do. Nothing we could do. And then moms cry as they mourn in the morn. I rise to rise raised despite the craze. Let the Almighty be praised. Don't choose the news, why bother these days? The extent of the third George's tour, the intent of the Third World War. George won't relent from the oppressed. He's a dreaded pestilent. He's worth more than a hand in a blend of other dead presidents. So says the misled residents dwelling in this dead residence. And this is my testament as I spit on dead presidents. It's been hell since the moment he stole office. And L was drove in the red, white, and blue old coffin. The few, the proud grew in numbers and started to come round more often. It's a police state and overseas thug state. For Pete's sake, when do we seek the uptake? Everybody's buying plastic and duct tape. It's drastic enough to drive an old nut straight. Frustrated frustration. But you must wait, friend, because fools rush straight in, becoming fool for the taking. Time in its true consideration, or else face ruthless obliteration. You must wait, friend.
Get started with the show, man. Let me just play a little bit of our beginning track for this show. Y'all know what's up. Y'all know it's Ujamaa. It's time for us to get it in.
Mr. Diddy.
We got somebody on the line. Call line is open 614-556-4535. Once again, that is 614-556-4535. That is the black line. For those of you that are bold enough and you might want to come on and you might want to join our server on Discord, right? Let them know. Tribal Quotes. Discord. Y'all like, well, I tip you late. I know. You ain't got to tell me I'm late. I know I'm late. But listen, what's going on that you was late, Brother Hashim? Let's talk about it. I'm going to turn on the talk line for our Discord channel. So if somebody want to join us by Discord, you can do it as well. I wonder how it's going to work. See if I'm done uploading a bit. No, the video's not done uploading. Video's not done uploading. At least that's what they say. You know what I'm saying? But hey, it is what it is. We're going to make it happen. Alright. How was you late, Brother Hashim? Talk about it. Throw the Barbar's book up here. Get out here. Actually, before we even do that, y'all know what it is. It's gonna get proper what proper deserve to be given.
Think about a quick question to it.
Go ahead.
Be on the record, off the record. Be on the record. Bob Johnson said, talking to the higher powers, I guess the government, about our reparations. And I guess the numbers that they come up with were about 3. His name is Saul, here in Ngozi, Northern Light Shopping Center. You want more than just a nice cut? Good conversation, good vibe, good music. Come see me at 3512 Cleveland Avenue.
After 75 years of organizing in our community, after 95 years of life, the Baba of the Tawi Family Village, together a book. Actually, it's a special report called The 11 Steps, Consideration for Empowering African-Centered Organizations. Conversations that African-centered organizations need to have in order to be successful. Glean from the wisdom of somebody now building successful at it. Get your copy at MaribaKelsey.com, MaribaKelsey.com.
But the most important goddesses were black, not just for the African now in the civilization of the Greek. The Greek was so profoundly affected by the Africans that the goddess of chastity was a black woman, Artemis. The goddess of wisdom was a black woman, Minerva. The goddess of beauty was a black woman, Diana. And many of their great mythological figures which were critical to the vision of history, the history of the Greeks in the Odyssey. The woman who draws, who has the power to draw Odysseus and all his crew into her.
The warrior learns the way of
who's
value.
represented as a black woman with African features on the Greek value. The woman who helped Jason win the golden fleece is a black woman, Medea. The woman who married Perseus, the Greek hero.
LadyWarriorsROP.com. Family, I am ready. I'm ready. It's about to go down. It's about to go down first, family. I want to welcome you to the Congregation of the Mighty, the home of the stubborn minority, the place where your hustle builds muscle. This is Giami Journey Media.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is a Heart of a Simba production. And of course, right now we're listening to Tribal Quotes, where we strive to blow up your paradigms. All right now tonight we have joining us, we got Brother John Calhoun. What's up, brother? How you doing tonight?
Brother, I'm living in America.
Man, hey, ain't nothing like it. Ain't nothing like it. You know what I'm saying? So
more interesting.
this is your first time on one of our official shows. Those of you on Instagram, if you want to see what we doing and you want to hear him, it would be best for you to come on over to gnjmedia.live. That's gnjmedia.live, gnjmedia.live. This is just a promo. Give you a little taste of what's going on over here at Giami Journey. All right. So, Brother John, talk so I can make sure I got you on here loud enough for the people to hear you.
What it look like, man? What it look like, man? What it look like, man? What it look like?
Oh man, it's looking good right now. You know what I'm saying? We in full bloom. I wanted to tell the people a little bit of why I'm late. I am late tonight because I had to put together a demonstration video on how to put together a ebook and or an article for our newsletter. Or just create an ebook for yourself. I wanted to do something for the supporters as well as the members of Giami so that I could get them the information to learn how to use some of the software that we're using. So I had to teach them how to format within Google Docs and stuff. But when I got home, I jumped straight in the tub. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like I said, I'm on day 5. It's day 5 of the fast. Next week is going to be the hard part. So like I said, family, those that want to join me, you ain't got to necessarily fast from food. There's other things you could fast from, and you could get with Brother Hatim to draw your inspiration. Because I'm gonna make it on my 21 days. I don't know about y'all, but go ahead, John. You got something you want to share with the people?
Oh man, right now I'm just I'm thinking about America.
What you thinking about America? Come on now, holla at us.
There's a Chinese curse that says, "May you live in interesting times." But there's another Chinese term that it links chaos with opportunity.
Right.
And I guess right now, I just see so much opportunity. And I mean, and I wouldn't even said this a couple of weeks ago. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it just seems like there's all these resources. In fact, I was talking about this with my older brother. It's like, I can count at least 4 different organizations that have offered $100 million to the black community. 4. Not to mention a lot of individuals and companies that all together equal like $500-600 million of support offered in the last month. Where
Right.
that money gonna go?
You mean they offered it and somebody took it?
Well, like Michael Jordan put up $100 million. I don't know where he's putting the money.
Oh yeah. Now, so if it's Michael Jordan, he probably put it in the buy the shoe credit type program or some shit like that, or offered it to the police officers union. You know what I'm saying? Because
Oh no, he earmarked it for black stuff, for Black Lives Matter and organizations like that.
which is another issue. See, because part of the issue that we're going to run into is that a lot of organizations like Black Lives Matter and other organizations, although they're doing good work, the history has shown us just in the short time that they've been around that they often pivot after events like this. So it goes from Black Lives Matter to Black Lives Matter in rhetoric, but it goes to All Lives Matter in action. And that's sort of what we got to be aware of. So you got celebrities and other people that are putting up money and other organizations that are putting up money. But what we have to be aware of at our age as nation builders and start building the influence so that we can start being the influencers of individuals that's doing stuff like this and help guide them in where they put the money. Because a lot of these people and a lot of these corporations are out of touch with what black people really need, and they are in touch with the gatekeepers that help maintain where we are. Organizations that have made a history and made a living in teaching black folks and teaching white folks how to be comfortable around white people and teaching black folks how to make white people comfortable. When we are in a time right now where we do not need to make them feel comfortable. We need to constantly make them feel uncomfortable when we come in the room.
No, you're going into something I was just talking about, which is, see, my whole thing is that, like, so for example, my favorite writer is James Baldwin. And it's not as much from his books, but from his essays. And if you look at, like, documentary on him, it shows it clearly. But
I Am Not Your Negro, that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
But James Baldwin was a master intellectual samurai, slicing up racists left and right. I say this because I was seeing some of our white brothers and sisters put James Baldwin in their little Instagram and Twitters and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I start thinking to myself, and I guess I've been looking at this too with Martin Luther King. It's like, it's easy to like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and James Baldwin retroactively. But what happens when they're making the types of critiques that they make in this modern era? And so I say this is because I feel like it's a way for a lot of people who are not African American to disarm critical people of our age. Oh, look at the angelic Martin Luther King. And I'm like, okay, so you really only heard the I Have a Dream speech then, right? because that I Have a Dream speeches outpaces all the other highly brilliant critical analysis speeches that Martin Luther King gave about America. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. Actually, for
So
those
they
that don't
kind
have
of almost
time to
give you
read
like-
all the speeches, there is a very good ebook on Audible with the actual speeches on there, and a lot of them Martin Luther King is speaking in person, and you can really get a grasp, because first off, one of the things we have to understand, and through this new book that I'm reading called The Family, I'm starting to understand a little bit more of what's happening. We see before our eyes the rewriting of American history. And in the rewriting of American history, they only reflect on the mythology. It ain't even history, on the mythology of America, and not on the actual history. And that's what Black Americans, or that's what ADOS, American Descendants of Slaves, or my fault, American Descendants of Slavery, that's what we remind them of. And this is what I'm saying. They have to feel uncomfortable until they grasp and deal with what America really is. Right now, most people only know American mythology. They don't know history. So the mythology of Martin Luther King is what everybody quotes and uses. It's the mythology. It's the trademark Martin Luther King that was designed to make white people feel comfortable that we deal with.
And see, this is my thing, because I've thought about this in my interaction with white folks, and I realized that I call it palatable blackness. In other words, you can like Martin because Martin is not going to call you out on the fake bullshit you're doing right now, because Martin ain't here. So you can like Martin and kind of put your arm around Martin. But the people who think like Martin, the people who have Martin and Malcolm level critiques, how do you feel about those black people? The most intelligent critiquers of our era. How do you feel about those black people? Because telling me that you like Martin, okay, so you can like some, some symbolic Martin, Malcolm, but, woo, like, for example, fake liberalism. Martin was calling out fake liberalism left and right.
Yes, he was.
That's a part of what I mean. It's like, because I got this whole thing. This is a consciousness versus woke. I think that woke shit can go fuck itself. Woke to me is a series, like it's a checklist of questions that you got to say yes or no to.
Ooh.
And if you're going down the right checklist, then quote unquote you're woke. However, woke is just some fake shit, and to me, it's like a manipulation perpetrated probably from like a certain level of a certain part of that liberal kind of those liberal elites, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not going to allow me to have nuanced opinions. So, like, I remember, like, perfect example of this. The Pope came, and everybody was liking the Pope. And then the Pope met with some woman who a lot of people were critical of. And then I remember all of a sudden everybody was like, well, the Pope is destroying his reputation. Because he met with somebody that had homophobic views. See, that's that woke cancel culture bullshit thing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you gotta believe my checklist. So it's like if I don't learn your pronouns, then somehow I've done something as egregious as you call me a nigga. And I'm like, see, all that shit, you gotta miss me with all that shit. Like, I don't want your help if your help comes with like neutering my mind. Because I'm gonna tell you that, like, I've come up with a new term for any race of people who neuters the mind of a black person. I call them the overseer.
The overseer. The overseer. Man. Because
I want to use them.
Go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead.
No, including like if a white person is like, oh, well, you should think this and this and this. I'm like, really? Who do what? Huh? You just, I mean, look, march with me, but you don't tell me nothing about how I think.
Right. Right.
Like you, because that's what because you can't co-opt me. Like, lest you try, I'm nipping that shit in the bud right off the top, which is why I want to put I want to start right now saying I want to put a demarcation line, because I don't believe, all of my beliefs aren't aligned with whatever this woke shit is. I'm a human being. I'm not an automaton, so I don't correspond to a certain checklist of beliefs. Like, some stuff people are gonna think, oh, I really like where he's at on that, and then some stuff they're gonna be like, I don't know what the hell he is on that. My whole thing is that, like, I'm not here to try to be anybody's, like, to believe in any checklist. Like, I don't know. It's like, even with this thing where, like, oh, I said something racist like 10 years ago. Oh, we've got to be fired. Like, really? Really? I've just been around a lot of people, and a lot of people I've heard in their own little worlds make off-color comments about all different kinds of people, including myself. I've said stuff about other groups of people. Now, I know I'm smart enough not to put my shit on social media, but I say this in that whole level of, like, let he who's without sin cast the first stone. I've listened to everybody talk about everybody.
All right, hold on for a second. All right, Instagram, I'm about to go so I can have an intense talk, because John is on fire tonight. We might not get to the quotes tonight, but, yo, matter of fact, we might get to the quotes. I'm going to be able to squeeze them in, because you know I'm good at what I do. But check us out at gnjmedia.live. Once again, that's gnjmedia.live. gnjmedia.live. All right, John. So, you was railing against this woke piece, and you saying that the woke shit is some fake shit.
Yeah, man. Woke.
It's almost like you said, if you fit the checklist, then you could be considered woke.
And I'm a thinker of my people, man. Like, because I've watched some of the, and I know that, like, some of these young kids are out there and stuff, and they're out and marching fine, but I've spent my own time trying to work on stuff and trying to organize in our community. Spent many years doing that myself. I've studied the history of my people. I say this because some of the stuff, when I'm listening to some of the people, Black Lives Matter, and there's various, and the thing it becomes is that there's various agendas that I see starting to eke out of that Black Lives Matter thing. And I'm like, okay. My concern is that we haven't established healthy black consciousness, because I listen to people still. It's cool that you Black Lives Matter, but what do you know about Africa? What do you know about what do you know about your history? Like, not just in America. What do you know about some of the major philosophical ideas that come from your people? Like, you want to be a spokesperson for black people. What have you done to prepare yourself other than having a will to open your motherfucking mouth? Because I've seen more black people just have a willingness to open their mouth. That's wonderful, but you're going to need a little bit more preparation, especially if people start handing you $100 million. Because the one thing that my brother said, and I thought about this, he was like, man, he said, I can't wait to see how many brothers are going to be driving around in BMWs after that. Because I've seen this thing. You've seen this thing before. You get certain folk, and they realize, oh, man, I can write myself a little job title here.
Right. See, this is what we're going to end up. We're going to end up with individual. We're going to end up with, if we're not careful, we're going to end up with a whole nother group of individuals that's going to be able to employ themselves until they retire. And then in their retirement, they're going to be upset that they traded their people's moment for their individual comfort, if they even feel bad about it. And like you said, so we got individuals coming out here putting up putting up the dough, putting up money, and we got individuals that really have no grounding. You know what I'm saying? This is why I constantly talk about at Giami Journey. We constantly talk about building. How can I say it? We talk about building borders, because who gets to speak for you? You know what I'm saying? If you woke, it could be anybody. If you conscious, motherfucker need to know something. You got to know something about the people. You got to know something about what the people need. You know what I'm saying? Just the fact that you are black, just because we got the same skin, does not mean that you get to represent me. Where's the skin in the game? Not just the skin and the color. Where's your skin in the game? Yeah, I know your mama black, if you black. I know some of your cousins black. But what are your relationships with them?
I mean, do you know what the big picture is? Have you thought about 4 continents of black people? Are you just focused on African Americans? You realize you had an international, people saw you internationally. Are you prepared to jump on that? Are you prepared to make contact with all these people that want to show us that they see us all around the world? Like, how big is your mind thinking about this stuff?
And
a lot of black people, they get very caught up in their, you know how we do, we get caught up in the situations of what's happening in this city. I'm like, you gotta, like, and I say this even without the money, because honestly, the money is cool and we'll see where it goes, but I go back to, like, what is your vision? Like, do you, like, are we prepared to talk about hip-hop for real? Like, Black Lives Matter eventually has to address black people killing black people. Because I've heard so many people make this pivot, you know what I'm saying? And here, let me do this, though.
You go ahead, because I'm about to get on your ass right now. I'm about to, because I got some disagreements. Because we're gonna have to flesh this shit out real quick. But go ahead.
What is Black Lives Matter? Because I see these people say, oh, leaders of the movement. But what is the movement? I say this because you got all these people coming out under these big marches. But it's kind of like the Million Man March. The Million Man March was called by Nation of Islam, but it was way bigger than Nation of Islam and people came out. But Nation of Islam people wanted, like, how you gonna respect the message but not the messenger? Like, they wanted more props for your boy Farrakhan. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it got like Farrakhan. He made this call and people came out, but it became somewhat bigger than Nation. All people didn't come out because Farrakhan called them. They felt a call to something bigger. The same way, like, all the people that's out here, this isn't all Black Lives Matter. They haven't said, oh yeah, here goes your leaders. Here goes our Black Lives Matter leaders. Like, most people that came out weren't members of Black Lives Matter. So I'm like, when you're saying, it's like there's people that are upset and they're saying Black Lives Matter, but they didn't vote whoever the person that's calling us a leader.
Right.
There's a game going on right there,
man. It's a definite game. Now, let's go back a little bit, because I need to rewind it just a little bit, because now you said as a black leader, you have to be willing, because I agree with you, you have to be willing to reach out to other black countries and other places and stuff like that. But also, as a black leader, you have to be bold enough to set those borders, because once again, just because we got skin don't mean that we can, because we got other people. What I'm saying is, we have to be willing to erect borders. And I will also push back on the fact, John, that in many cases, some of the leaders need to focus on the goddamn cities that they are in. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So it has to be a double pull, because, like I said, the issue that the ADOS community is having with the Pan-African community is some bullshit to me, because I don't see why they both can't exist. Because if for example, because like you have Pan-Africans talking about as those people that claim, like myself, ADOS is foolishness, it's causing separation in the movement. But if my wife is Away, her friend is Ashanti, you know what I'm saying, or Ashanti, we got the Fanta people, You know what I'm saying? We got the Kikuyu people. We got the Zulus. You know what I'm saying? And the diaspora embraces them. The diaspora embraces Jamaicans. Jamaicans are known as Jamaicans. You know what I'm saying? Dominicans are known as Dominicans. Puerto Ricans are known as Puerto Ricans and shit. But we're the only group that when we accept an identity for ourselves, it becomes a problem. And that bothers me. You understand? Because like I said, if you got room for all these other groups, why is it when a group in America come together and say, we are a tribe? We are a tribe. We have a culture that is different than all your other cultures. Like, because Awe, even though they live in Ghana with the Fanti, there is two different cultures there. Yes, there are things that connect them. There are things that are similar, but there's two different cultures. But when we, as Africans in American or America or African Americans or ADOS or Black or whatever title we vibing with at the moment, when we say that we are a group, it becomes problematic. And as a leader, I got to be able to stand up, or you have to be able to stand up and let motherfuckers know we do have a unique piece. And if you are threatened by that, you are telling us that you are not our motherfucking ally. You want to take advantage of us just like everybody else.
And this is a thing because I appreciate, this is like, look, man, I'm so appreciative of the athletes coming out and being willing to speak up, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they're even, putting even more resources where their money is and all that different type of stuff. But this stuff does not change. If you don't have a vision for something beyond Wakanda, you're just going to flutter. Like, what is big level Black thinking? Because I'm watching these athletes, and to their credit, it used to be when Black athletes I would hear them speak about Black issues, I would wince because I was like, ooh. It's kind of like with Spike. I love Spike, but Spike he wasn't prepared to go on Fox News and talk about Black issues.
None of them are.
He was.
I mean, a lot of them aren't because, once again, John, who influences them? Who are the influences?
This stuff that's rolling around them right here.
No, I mean, right now, is this stuff going on around here and the internet, but even those that are affected by this, are they prepared to speak as leadership? You know what I'm saying? Why is it for us, when it comes to looking for leadership, we got motherfuckers looking at athletes, at actors,
what it is like
at directors.
And that's, I guess, a part of why I get concerned, because it's like, if I look at the Black intellectuals, like, I don't think that there's a lot of people that are really projecting from an African-centered consciousness.
Right. Why?
Like, there's people that they got sayings and they got cowrie shells, some of them, and maybe some of them got dreadlocks, but they know, that's almost like the woke thing. It's like they know how to show you the cultural icons so that, quote unquote, I'm down, but like
the trappings.
Yeah, got all that. They can give you the look.
Right.
But it's kind of like with your boy, because I was talking to my boy about who's the one brother, the stocky cat that always.
Is he in Columbus or is he a national figure?
National figure. I know you know what I'm gonna talk about. He's like the most famous one.
What, Black?
Brother gets on the air, says all kind of stuff.
Roland Martin?
No, the brother. He's like he says he got a PhD.
I don't know.
He started school.
Oh, are you talking about the light-skinned dude?
No, the dark-skinned brother, stocky. He was on the show, Roland Martin show with him.
Oh, Umar Johnson.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So
brother
like
Umar.
Umar Johnson, for example. Like I know a lot of people feel Umar Johnson. Man, that's my light work.
Explain.
Umar Huh?
Explain.
I mean that like Umar Johnson not really ready to have a conversation with me. Only thing that Umar Johnson is to do is like he'll yell over me. You know what I'm saying? But Umar Johnson, these are part of my concerns. Like there's a lot of brothers. It's kind of like in a world where Jay-Z is an activist to some people. Jay-Z is not an activist to me.
Hey, man, you better leave Hove alone.
Jay-Z has pushed as much negativity into the minds of black folk as any drug dealer.
Y'all figure out who y'all trying to talk about?
Yeah, it's Dr. Umar. Who this?
Okay. Quasi.
What's up, Quasi?
I put it in the comments, Umar. I knew exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, hold on. I gotta get to the comments because I'm looking at the screen. Shit. We about to have a powerful discussion. I told y'all this shit is about to go down. But go ahead. We got brother Quasi. We got brother John in the house. But hold on, John, before we go any farther. You are gonna publish a digital book through Giami Journey. What's the name of the book that you putting together?
The Habit of Deep Alignment.
The Habit of Deep Alignment will be coming out soon. We're working on it right now. Now, back to the point. You saying Brother Umar will be your light work. Please, break it down for the people. You know what I'm saying? Because, listen, I met Dr. Umar. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Umar was real cool. He was a real cool dude. But tell me what you mean as far as in leadership. Why you think that he would not be ready to have a conversation with you?
First of all, my biggest thing is that like he relies less on intellect and more on his ability to go volume and be aggressive when I've seen him debate cats. So that's your first problem. Because if you start raising up on me, you already lost. Do you see what I'm saying? No, I'm serious. Like as soon as you start raising up on me, I can deconstruct your universe is gonna get deconstructed right there. He'll probably want to try to strangle me because you're like a child who doesn't know how to control his emotions. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm gonna treat him like a child, which is gonna make him want to try to strangle me because I don't like because you know what it is. He strikes as a bully. I watched him bully, and then he panders to black women. And I'm like, bruh. I'm like, you're running this thing like the black woman has no responsibility in how our society is broken down. And you start castigating brothers if they mess with somebody outside the community. I'm like, that's like, I got major problems with that, brother.
All right. I mean, now, maybe one day we can arrange a meeting between you and Brother Umar. You understand what I'm saying? But, you know.
But right now, when I watch a number of his shows, I'm like, his flow, where he wants to take black masculinity. Like,
what's the issue? What's your issue with that?
Because there's a certain bravado. Like, I don't want to take. I want the aggression to come out only when it's necessary. Like there's times when I'm watching some of his stuff and it's like he just rolls right into aggression, and I'm like, bro, why are you there already? In fact, when I feel like he feels like he's in intellectual danger, he starts to come out in that kind of a way. You know what I'm
saying? Okay. So now give me a good motto of black leadership. See, because now this is another issue. Because I'm gonna say the same thing that I said about athletes and actors and directors and intellectuals. those do not, just because you do those things, it does not qualify you to be a leader. You know what I'm saying? An individual, because you broke this down for me, right? You told me that you can't be, even though we all know, I mean, because according to our last conversation, according to the research that me and you did both, we know that this myth about the alpha is some bull. The alpha is bullshit. But we do know that even if there was an alpha, you can't be an alpha without a tribe.
Why is the alpha bullshit?
Because the alphas, the whole alpha idea was built up by somebody who did faulty research. And they start telling the stories about wolves or whatever, and or monkeys or whatever, and the shit was totally wrong. The stuff could not be proven. It was something that was launched as a theory that couldn't stand the test, because when you really looked at wolf packs and you looked at packs of other animals that work together, you find that the alpha is nothing like they describe. You understand what I'm saying? What they was describing, John called it, you call it the Omega man. The Omega, right?
Yeah.
Go and break it down for him. John better at this shit than I am. I remember little quick blurbs and shit. John writing about this in his book. Go and break that shit down for him, man.
I mean, the basic thing.
Wait, hold on. Let me hype you up a little bit. I'm your hype man. Go on, John. Let them know. Tell them about that shit. Break it down.
Goofy, man. Nah, man. Essentially, it's this. The whole idea of an alpha, it's male bravado. It's guys walking around, oh, I'm an alpha. But outside of the context of being in a tribe, you can't be an alpha. It's like being a chief, but you don't got no Indians. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's no such thing as an alpha unless you have a tribe that's following you around. So you can't be. So that's the first mistake that people make. The second mistake that people end up making then is that they see the alpha and they think aggressive traits are what the alpha is all about. But in fact, for example, in the gorilla kingdom, they found that at the times when you had alphas that were being aggressive and not respecting the boundaries of what alphas do, they almost always get overthrown. They either change their behavior or they get overthrown by the two strongest males outside of the alpha. Do you see what I'm saying? And the alpha is not always the strongest, because in fact, the biggest quality that alphas have across the animal kingdom is centeredness in the heart of battle. The pack trusts the alpha to make decisions to lead the tribe, and for food and for various things to defend the tribe. So the alpha's basically focus is on strengthening the members of his tribe and not packing his pockets and trying to get all kind of stuff for himself. So y'all are talking about their alpha, but they really primarily just going for self. They just really haven't come up to a point where they've realized and learned what an alpha really is yet. You see what I'm saying?
So traits that you don't hear about in the alpha are caring, building of others. The alpha is usually the most principled. When I say alpha is the concept that they put out there. The alpha is the most principled one. The alpha represents the culture at the highest level. And those are the most successful alphas. They don't have to be the strongest. They don't have to be the fastest. But they hold the respect of the group because they respect the group. And they understand that with the group, they are powerful. It's like so it's like like I said yesterday that I got from this book, The Family, the wolf is strong because of the pack, and the pack is strong because of the wolf. So it's a reciprocity there. It's a reciprocity there. The alpha is strong because of the pack or the group or the tribe. And the tribe is strong because the alpha is there. You know what I'm saying? But he also realizes that it's strong because of the other members that are there. Who I chase off? I done chase somebody off.
What's up?
Nothing. We can keep on going. But anyway, yeah. So he, you know, Quasi will be back. Probably something happened with the phone or whatever. But you know, and that's what we get caught up in, right? This bullshit. We got this. We can, you know. So you know, we're leaning on leadership from individuals that in other communities are not leaders, but advisors. You understand what I'm saying? So we'll look at the athlete who is the strongest and might even be intelligent and might be able to put together some pretty swell sentences. That don't make a motherfucker a leader, a singer. He might, you know what I'm saying? Intellectual. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Like I've had some of my boys that they were selling drugs on the corner, and then a couple of them became church leaders, and they said, "Oh, I'm just a natural leader," and I'm like, see, the thing about it is that your aptitude to being a leader, even if you come out of the military, like I've had a lot of friends that came out of the military. Military doesn't teach you how to be a leader. I mean, you can learn how to be a leader in the military, but I've known enough cats to go to that have gone to the military, and just you going to the military doesn't make you a leader. Like, leader for me starts to come from how do you process the big picture? How
Explain.
are you looking at? Well, it's like if you're a leader of Black Lives Matter, for example, you talk about police violence. But what are you talking about, for example, like it's not just, our lives just don't matter in terms of to the police. Our lives also don't matter in a variety of other areas to this country. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So what about all those other areas? In other words, like, you need to have a large, thoughtful, comprehensive level plan. Our plans end up being too small, and so we end up having an imbalanced plan. Because
we be dependent on non-leaders to do leadership shit.
And that's the thing. It's like, I mean, I love LeBron, but because of our society, LeBron will probably get onto like Fox News. You know what I'm saying?
Right. See, but it would now.
So Bill O'Reilly used to do this thing. He used to piss me off, man. He used to get brothers to come on a Bill O'Reilly show, but these guys weren't used to. I mean, Bill O'Reilly isn't particularly brilliant, but he's solid enough of an intellectual that when he would have some of these rappers come on the show, he'd dance circles around them. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. It's like, I mean, I love LeBron.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was checking because Quasi got off so he could start a watch party. Family, that's dope. Shouts out to Quasi Lowe. Shouts out. You still there, John?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Go ahead. I think Shaka just joined us too.
What was I just saying? What did
you old, man? I supposed to be doing the forgetting. You know you just turned. How old are you now? Your birthday. Happy belated birthday. How old are you now?
48.
Yeah. You supposed to be still being able to. You was talking about Bill O'Reilly and how he pissed you off about how he would bring people on.
He'll get these rappers and stuff to come on his show, and then they weren't really ready to do intellectual combat with him. But he would pick. But you know, they were famous rappers, but they weren't ready to get up there with Bill O'Reilly. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He would do this because he would want to be like, well, I'm bringing them up here, and they would come because, you know, they're famous and they want to come. But I'm watching it. I'm like, Bill O'Reilly, you putting on cash that you could easily get. Like,
right.
Put me and you on there. You know what I'm saying? Like, put some brothers that actually have been processing these things for like a couple decades and see what happens then. Don't put rappers.
But hey, I mean, but that's what you do. See, because they don't want. We got to understand. I mean, as the enemy does not want people to see the best of you. Why would I do that? I want to bring somebody on that y'all all respect, and I want to crush them, and I want it to be as easy as possible. You understand what I'm saying? I want to be able to dismantle you. I want to be able to bring the aggression up out of you so that I can show that I am mentally being a representative of white supremacy, or being a representative of this white social structure, that I am more intelligent than you. We got to understand.
Like you ever see what happens when like Michael Eric Dyson get up there? Like, because Michael Eric Dyson be just whooping them. I'm not gonna talk about what James Baldwin would do to these cats, because they wouldn't even put James Baldwin on the air right now.
No, they wouldn't.
They wouldn't even put him on the air. He's too vicious for him. He's too good. He's too much smarter than them. But that's what I mean. It's like, because I'm looking at these Black Lives Matter cats. Look, I hope. But the fact of the matter is that, I mean, I saw this even when I was trying to work with these pastors down in New Orleans, man. It's like, you have to start thinking about where does all this, what is the big vision? In fact, here goes to me one of the biggest problems that we have in our community. We have a tendency to want to build from what is practically around us, and then try to weave something together from what is practically around us. And I understand that, because for a lot of black people, that feels like the more rational way to do it. The only thing is that like, you anchor your mind to your material circumstances when you do that. And you need to let your mind go free. What is the big thing that you want to do? What is the big shift that black people need to make? And then work backward from the big picture to where you're at.
Now I'm gonna push back on that, and this is why. Somebody need to turn it down in the background. I'm gonna push back on that, because I honestly believe that people need to start where they are. And because, like, for example, I understand I'm in a generational warfare. I have been here over and over and over again. So I have to master where I am, so that my son. So I got to take Columbus, so that Cleve could take Ohio, and maybe take the country, and maybe my grandson to take the world, and maybe my great grandson will be able to move out into space, because I'm building. You know, because I think a lot of times, because it's cool to have a big vision, but if you don't solidify where you are. Because really, a lot of us, we be having big visions, but we don't have a goddamn ground to stand on. So we free falling, trying to put some shit together before we hit the earth.
See, that's where I got to push back on you, though, because like, I listen to a lot of brothers talk, and for example, like, I never have a plan that isn't already considering 4 continents. I rarely heard brothers talk about anything that even gets out of America. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, I actually don't think, I think the cats got visions, but big visions? Nah, not so much. Not really.
But this the issue. The big vision is cool. The big vision you need to put somewhere where you can work with. You know what I'm saying? Where you can work toward. But you got, because I can ask this question. How many times you been out the country?
Twice.
Okay, cool. At least, see, because there's other people with big visions that never left the country. We got some people with big visions that have never traveled outside of Ohio. You know what I'm saying? Or outside of the city that they live in, or outside of their block. You know what I'm saying? You have been exposed to international shit, so you know that there's other things out there. The thing that I'm saying is, now, what we have to do is, those of us with these big, broad visions, we got to start breaking them down, because like you said, you build backwards and you don't start building out in the world on the big things. You start where you are and start working towards your goal. That's where I'm at. I'm working towards where we're going to be able to do something on the international level. I'm not starting at the point where I'm trying to do shit on the international level, but I can't pay my, you know what I'm saying? It don't work. Well, let me put it this way.
But
It did.
that's what
I take that
no,
back.
you
Hold
know-
on. I take that back. It didn't work for me. Let me say it like that because I want to be correct because I don't want because it might be some people that's working back from the big vision and or working at the big vision and working on it and it's working for them. It didn't work for me. So I have to start building around me and build up from where I'm at rather than building back to where, back to here. But go ahead.
But my thing is that you can see the strategy. I think you can move from the big vision and you can work back to the strategy so that like you're all the way back to like what you literally have in your hands.
Let me tell you what it really comes down to.
Oh,
Okay,
there he is. Right around.
it comes down to strategic outcomes. You understand? Sometimes those outcomes are going to happen regardless if you're there or not. But to be hello?
Somebody just hung up.
Are
Go
y'all
ahead.
hanging up now?
No, Quasi,
What happened?
his phone, Quasi's phone drop in and out. And plus he monitoring because he got a watch party going on for us right now. So go ahead.
So I'll give you a perfect example, all right, myself, because sometimes artistically, from the outside looking in, be like, Shaka, what exactly are you doing right now? I know you're doing something, but where you at with it? Could it be the cooking show? Could it be the food truck? Could it be the, you know what I mean? I got all these, but they're all components of the same movement, right? So over the years, and this is when it really started to become a solid idea for me. It was when I was working days at the Huckleberry House and nights at Ohio Youth Advocate program. And what I realized is that, they need situations where people like you and me are around to be able to give these young these teenagers an opportunity to understand why you here and you taking a knee, put your plan together. The success is all about strategy, resources, and execution, right? So we start them into the process. We cultivate them into their own tomorrow. And when we're able to do that intentionally, all right, so all of that just to say that during the same time, Hatem, I remember handing an ensemble a check for so much money for doing the stage production. And I said, you know what? That's what I got to do. So 20 years ago, I started writing the stage production that right now is the same project that I've moved from an idea of a stage production into a Netflix original. And so it's the same material. And throughout the years, throughout the experiencing the injustice, documenting it in essays, documenting it in a format that people could understand, and people and I delivered intentionally what I needed for people to take away from it. So intentional outcomes is a major aspect of any movement. And throughout the years, you can break down this production into 20 different components that have either transpired already or are now coming together and cultivating the big picture. So sometimes it takes years, because as artists, as human beings, we can't anticipate a lot of what holds us up. You know what I mean? The things that I don't even want to get into, but y'all understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to maintain focus artistically, to be able to deliver a point, it really is a matter of waiting until waiting for the right questions to be asked. And I'm realizing that, Hatem, do you? I want to make sure that I'm not overstating, but when I performed last weekend, you've heard those songs over and over again. But did they mean anything different this time?
Of course, every time I hear the songs, they mean something different. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, because it's layered. So I get to learn, and I get to feel the whole experience. But it's because I hear you. But once again, I'm going back to the piece of the small changes. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, what I'm talking about is not the only way. I'm just saying because I get concerned sometimes because I be running into situations where people have these grandiose plans, but don't have the capital to back up the plans, don't necessarily even have the connection to back up the plans. But it's a beautiful plan. And I don't want to take that away from them, but what I'm saying is because we're not building, I believe because we're not building where we are, you know what I'm saying? We are, in a sense, robbing our community and robbing ourselves. See, because when we talk about the community, I'm not talking about the United States. I'm talking about the people around me right now that got to eat. I feel a personal responsibility for everybody that say they're a tribe member for me. You know what I'm saying? They're a Giami member. They're a Giami tribe member. I am the ranking member in Giami. I have a responsibility to try to make sure that everybody that is in my circle is eating. Now, if I'm all the way out here trying to do some international shit and shit is falling apart in Columbus, it don't make no goddamn sense to me.
I think you're looking at the timing, though. You're like, because it's not like if you, for example, want to, like, what I want to do with my diaspora project, it's not like if I want to do the diaspora project, that I just go out there and start doing the diaspora project. Because I don't have those type of international contacts. I have small, limited contacts with people on each of the 4 continents. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I need way more than that. But what I can do, which is what I have been doing, is just making little shouts out. So, like, I know a couple of groups that are in Europe that are just doing stuff around Black consciousness, and I just shoot an email out to start developing relationships. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Trying to get them familiar with it. So there's practical action steps that I take, but I have to look at where do I want the big thing to go. Because my thing is like, are we going to, if we're not trying to copy some poor imitation of what white people are doing, then we really have to revolutionize a lot of how we think about things. If we're not just trying to copy them, then we have to really find out what the ways in which that they have infiltrated our thought streams, have caused us to look at ourselves with limitations that are not really there, and then we have to find ways to discard that shit. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I understand.
Are you familiar with Fraser Nation?
Fraser Nation?
What's it
George?
called?
Yeah, as in George Fraser.
Yeah, I'm familiar with George Fraser. Network guru. But go ahead.
Yeah. So ultimately, and I don't want to misrepresent, but I sat in with one of the co-founders of Fraser Nation as he was explaining some aspects of unifying the African dollar, some aspects of where we are right now, and we actually watched a piece where.
Hello?
HIV inside of vaccines and given to African countries. And so a lot of what we're dealing with and a lot of what, his approach is definitely something that I feel like is worth hearing your point of view about. At the same time, I feel like when you have these orders that are driven and that are financed or at least are put together by those an expendable income to be able to pay membership dues to I don't know such organizations. They out there, so I just yeah, maybe on a later date we'll come back to the Fraser Nation piece. I mean, they actually have a pretty profound constitution and declaration as well. So I'll share that with you unless it's on. I believe it's on the website.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Fraser. I mean, the one now. How did he start? You know what I'm saying? Because it's like he got the big plan, but you got to start getting all of the small stuff to work. I'm just saying. I mean, I believe in believe in building circles where you are, and then moving out from your center. And not that other ways don't work. I'm just telling you what, for my experience, what has happened for me. Because I'm sitting up here like, with the grandiose plans, you know what I'm saying? And it's like,
you know what?
Go ahead.
What's innovative about his approach? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
I'm listening. Go ahead.
I can hear you out there.
Can you hear? I hear him.
I was going to say, what's interesting about his approach is that we're actually, you can register online to become a part of Fraser Nation, which is a virtual nation, right? Mm-hmm. And allows you to be able to use this particular, I don't know. I mean, there's cryptocurrency, and I feel like his approach in this is like I said, it's definitely innovative. It would actually come about.
So, but on with the conversation. I don't know how we even got to this, but I mean, actually, it's important. It's important nation builder talk. You know what I'm saying? Because because like I said, we at that age where we need to be able to have conversations like this, and hopefully inspire others to either critique what we saying, agree with what we saying, disagree with what we saying, break down what we saying. You know what I'm saying? And do something with it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you think Brother Hatim is totally crazy or whatever the fuck, let me know. If it ain't what I'm saying is, family, I don't ask you to do nothing but think. That's it. That's the goal. I want you to think. Now, so John, go on, continue with your conversation, man. I'm sorry.
See, but even right there, I guess it's like, because one of the things that I want to deal with is this project I've been developing called the Art of Thinking. Because just thinking, there are a number of tools that have been developed to help people learn how to develop more complicated models, deeper ways of thinking, more analytic ways, better strategic ways. But a lot of those tools, you might go, like if you were in some advanced program at like Harvard or Yale or something like that, you know what I'm saying? Or if you work for like a corporation, they might sponsor that type of training for you. But going and getting advanced models just for learning how to think. Because I know so many brothers out there, and I hear their passion, and I hear their interest. But I give you an example. I got a boy, and he, for the life of him, does not know how to form a logical argument. Not only does he not know, but he doesn't realize that he doesn't know. So when I told him, yo, that's not logical what you're saying, he's like, that's just from your perspective. I'm like, bro, there's a set of laws, principles of how logic actually works. And you're not applying the principles, you're just doing your own thing. This is crucial stuff, man, because the more complicated models you are capable of creating and manipulating become the more complicated things that you're able to accomplish in the world.
I'm just
Go ahead.
I'm allergic to complicated shit, man. Listen, because the more complicated something is, the easier it is for it to break down.
You see, I don't think that complexity comes.
Go ahead, now break that down. Well, maybe go ahead.
So it's like you take something, for example, like systems thinking.
Right.
Systems thinking is probably considered globally as one of the most advanced structures of thinking in the world. While it's not necessarily used by brothers on the corner, it's being used by all the global militaries. It's being used by countries all around the world. It's being used by people who are designing, the biggest corporations. So this is something that is being, aggressively used. And it's also been used by brothers in the hood, like in places like Boston, where they were able to take these tools, because simplicity and complexity exist kind of in a certain continuum. And just because something, it's like in systems thinking, complexity comes out of simplicity. Do you see what I'm saying?
Can I add a layer?
Bust it.
Sometimes, oh my goodness. Go ahead. That shit just left my whole brain. Trying to hold on.
But no, I guess it's like I find myself developing. So it's like if you want to have a strategy, for example, well, we're going to try to link up economically. Like my brother's got all this stuff where he's got the moringa farms and stuff in Ghana, and he's he wants to bring that to a higher level. Because like in Europe, moringa is like hugely popular, but their number one source is in India.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a big opportunity for Africa to be a major source of moringa. And it's the original source of moringa. So they're doing this thing with moringa, but how are you going to make a plan to have moringa go through black people on 4 continents, and then try to find a way to keep that money rotating more so within our communities around the globe than just how we just end up spending our money everywhere else. It's like, and when you have to do it across so many different layers, across different societies, how are we letting people, the brothers and sisters in England, know that my brother got 8 acres of moringa farm where he can give you this, health food at good prices. Like all that stuff is doable, but you got to have a plan that really addresses how you're going to really line that out. I know you've had to see brothers start businesses and then they don't really come up with a detailed, thoughtful enough plan. And I saw it in Columbus, and I don't know how this worked out with you, but I saw it around Storm. It's like there's all these cats that saw Storm had all these houses, and then I knew a whole bunch of cats around Storm that were trying to buy a whole bunch of houses.
Mm-hmm.
And Storm went through that process, and Storm became a multimillionaire, and I knew a whole bunch of cats that they bought a whole bunch of houses, and then they had to recover financially from all the houses that they bought. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was one of those.
Because Storm had a very precise plan on the numbers by which you make certain type of decisions. You see what I'm saying? And then I don't know how you did it, but I knew some of the other cats, and I watched Storm trying to help them, but they didn't want to listen to him. And then he was like, your numbers don't work. And it was like precise numbers for their plan to be able to be viable. I saw with certain brothers, it was an ego thing where they were like, oh yeah, because I was watching cats. Oh yeah, I got 5 houses now. I got 5 houses.
Right, because you was taught that's what you do. You get that, and that is just the money gonna start coming. But then you don't talk about the bills. I mean, like you said, the numbers don't match up, and so but because how can I put it? I don't think motherfuckers with complicated plans is really running shit. I'm just being honest with you. I mean, because you got a lot of these system thinkers and economists, because a lot of that shit come out of these economy schools, and these motherfuckers cannot predict anything as far as economy. Most of these motherfuckers been wrong. You know what I'm saying?
And they're predicting, the predictive models have limitations, but they definitely got miles in terms of supply chain economics, like getting stuff and moving it around the world. They're really good at that.
So now let me ask you a question. What came first? Did them moving stuff around the world come first, or did the planning for them moving stuff around the world come first?
I don't know that it would have broken down in that type of way, but I know that if we got to get a plane economically, that we got to jump right into the system as it exists. So we have to have plans that understand. Because I mean, it's like if you don't, I know other people that are far more financially literate than me. But I know when you're getting loans and those little percentage points that people don't pay attention to, and they think, oh, that's not that big of a deal, end up being a huge deal.
Big, huge deal. I hear you. So now that's common sense. That's simple. You know what I'm saying? If your numbers are higher than your competition's numbers, your interest rate, you are always going to lose because you got to pay more money out. And 2% of $100 is different than 2% of $1 million. It makes a big difference the larger the numbers get. Now, but my piece is sometime, because I used to have an argument with one of my brothers because he was always into planning and making sure everything was perfect before we actually made moves. And I'm like, dude, we got to make moves and we got to be able to adjust because that's what we existed in. Because it's like, if you look at some of the major corporations, major companies, you know what I'm saying? They started their shit before they had plans. Now, they started their shit and established enough where they were so that they was able to start throwing plans so that they could spread out what they did. I think we got to do the work first. Well, actually, I take that back because it has to be a mixture.
Check this out. And y'all can look this up. Maybe I'm making part of it. No, I'm not. I mean, this is what was told to me in orientation when I went to Home Depot. And maybe this is where I learned a lot of my shit, is working for Fortune 500 companies, right? When I see, the first thing I saw in Columbus was Les Wexner. One of the big things that I learned from him, and this is how I came up with the Dime Bag of Soul, which was an album that I sold out of a plastic Ziploc bag for a decade and ate from. All right. So the piece is that with Les Wexner, I'm realizing that he owns everything from the manufacturing, growing the cotton, to every aspect of the process. He owns everything, right? So being able to get to the point where you don't have to outsource for shit, that's where I began moving towards independence, is through that model. Another person who showed me, especially with event planning, and shout out for a long time, BHB with the Hip Hop Expo and the Hip Hop Showcase. That brands the whole hip hop community in Columbus, in Ohio, for real.
Right.
People talk about the Ohio Hip Hop Awards here that happen in Cleveland and whatnot. Man, they don't know. Like the Hip Hop Expo, that's where y'all need to be, for real. So, what else?
Is
so,
doing that?
What's that?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I
didn't want to throw you off, Sucker. I was just curious. But
yeah, that's a major event in Columbus. And if he didn't throw it this year, it was because of that COVID-19 shit. This will be the first year in almost, 20?
Yeah.
25 years? And see,
At least. At least.
And I'm saying, what came first? You know what I'm saying? I mean, because it's like, yo.
Man, let me tell you something. Look, you could make a movie. You could make a movie about how I came into hip hop in Columbus while I was in Columbus. It was a spot on across the street from 7-Eleven on High Street called the Groove Shack, a little record store where they have midnight sales.
I know.
And okay.
I know the Groove Shack.
You know,
I remember going to a midnight sale, and they was talking about a after party at Monkey's Retreat, a bookstore on High Street. And I'm like, okay.
Retreat.
So I go to Monkey's Retreat. Monkey's Retreat got a bookcase that pushes aside, like, on a rail or whatnot, and it's a whole different room back there.
Right.
And you had the DJ up off of a winding staircase, right? You had BHB had the linoleum in the middle of the floor, and I walk in on cats just breakdancing, like doing backspins, like we ain't need no fan in the spot or nothing, because cats was windmilling, and like the breeze from these cats like dancing was just like cooling everybody off in the cypher. I saw John Rubin and Marlon Hayes battle, have like a spiritual rap battle on stage that night. It was a freestyle battle, man. I'm telling you, like Columbus hip hop, BHB. That's the cat's a legend.
See, but I don't want to take it too far off, because we're talking about organizing, right? And John was talking about complicated systems and the best system, and for me, I'm very suspicious of all that shit, because I'm wondering, did organization come or did organizational thinking come first? You understand what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Well, I think you're making it that I think that they both cross-pollinate and they keep on reflecting upon each other.
I could dig that. I'll go for that. But I'm just, because we was doing, because some of the shit you talking about is shit that we've been doing without Harvard and without a lot of these institutions long before these motherfuckers came in and broke up the shit that we had.
Well, not what I'm talking about doing. Not building because I know a lot of cats have done local shit. Like, as I moved around the country, I met a lot of cats that have done local shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Really, that's mostly what cats I've seen do. They got some local shit going. When I was living in New Orleans, my uncle was working with these cats. As I told you, I started working with all them pastors. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When I was in Houston, I knew cats in Houston. They were doing local shit. Same thing here in Philly. I see cats. I know cats. They're doing the Philly thing. Like,
you know what, man?
Huh?
I'll be honest with both of y'all. Like, I look at us now and look at us back then. I mean, I listen to. See, the piece is that as a visionary, I had to learn to listen to other people's visions to see where we had some common denominator. You know what I mean? Because I had to learn to not take over shit. You know what I mean? Because that got me booted out of a lot of conversations. I realized that shit. So, my mind is buffering.
You talking over there, man? You talking?
No. Well, no. So I guess what I'm saying is that looking at back then and looking at right now, it's really, I see where back then, Hatem, you were most in. I'm not gonna say your prime, but in terms of understanding your vision and putting it into a place where you actually saw instant outcomes around you because of our situation. And the same with me in that. We were doing some of the same things, but at the same time, I was more focused on the arts aspect. So the flock across the street was all like young lyricists from the open mic. You know what I mean? The projects and the conversations over there was always building into the project versus or the art the production project. And John, you were back and forth between the two. What do you understand what I'm saying? It's like I feel like back then we set the tone for for today and what's to come.
We were supposed to. We were warriors, but actually, we are in. For me, this my frame, as John was saying. And by the way, John, what's the name of that book we working on? You working on right now that you're gonna bring out real soon?
The Habit of Deep Alignment.
The Habit of Deep Alignment. Family, this brother is bringing out a book, and tell them a little bit about the book while I get my mind together, because I want to address what Shaka said because it's very important. But tell them a little bit about what the book is going to be about, please.
It's basically a book that acknowledges that everything about human beings is based around their habits. Like, we are creatures of habit more than anything else. But that's only the first part of the equation. Recognizing you're a creature of habit is the first part. Then you got to figure out what are the most important habits to be focused on, which is the part where most people make mistakes, because they tend to pigeonhole in particular areas. And I just looked at the whole human in every aspect and was like, in every major aspect of what we do as humans, what are, based upon science and experience, the most effective set of habits that we can have. And that most set of habits allows us to become the most powerful version of ourselves we can be.
Now,
this gonna sound messed up.
Well, hold on. But going back to what? Go ahead, Shaka. Go ahead, finish.
I was just gonna say real fast. That's why I love the show Dexter. But keep it moving.
But to address what Shaka said, because I believe we are in a very special time. We are in a time of legend, where legends are going to be made. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I guess every time is like that, but and at that phase of our life, we were in a warrior phase, and in the culture, we was in a warrior phase. So we were supposed to make our mark on the world. We were supposed to influence a room when we walked into that shit. You understand? We were supposed to get a lot of shit done. You know, so in that phase, now we're at the nation builder age where we got a little bit of gray showing. I got a lot of gray. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Hey, I look like Dr. Strange from the comic book.
Boo, you look at me, I look like I don't know what to tell you. I got a big white beard, I'll tell you that much.
So, young men for war, old men for counsel. We kind of in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, we're leaning on the older side, but we still can handle our business in that way if we need to, but we shouldn't. And what we was trying to lay down was a culture. We was trying to find a culture. And hip hop provided us with that. But in a sense, and I'm gonna say this, a lot of our elders allowed for others to come into that culture and basically not take their shoes off and just use that shit any way they wanted to do. We didn't protect it. Now what we're in the midst of forming right now is another culture with a fence around that shit and armed guards standing at the motherfucking door. And if you don't come in with respect, the armed guards are told to lay your ass down. See, I'm sorry. That might be a little bit too. But hold on, and one more thing. We got Mac. She asked, "Did you see Gary Chambers Jr. from Baton Rouge, L.A. made? Have you ever heard of Gary Chambers Jr. when you was in Baton Rouge?"
No.
Okay, because you can't see. He can't see the messages. He's on. He's not on. He's on the phone line, so he can't see the messages. But go ahead.
No, but I guess when I look at, because when I was in Columbus, I had a couple of little groups of cats where I was doing stuff with them, trying to figure out some of my ideas. And I agree with Shaka. Like, I saw so much town in Columbus, it was ridiculous. Even now, having lived all over the country, it's like I still think about that time when we was out there and just think, people just don't realize how much talent there was in Columbus during that period of time.
It ain't just that. It ain't just that period of time. Shit, I mean, it's still talent here. But go ahead.
And that might be the case, but I just remember that particular time. But when I kept on
Because you was
moving,
young and you was involved. Y'all both conceited motherfuckers. That's all that shit is. But go ahead.
But I kept on moving, and the thing was is that I saw a pattern. It's like I saw all these talented brothers in Columbus that could only take it so far, and then I moved out to the Bay, and I'm living in the Bay, and it's the same thing. I see all these talented cats in the Bay, but somehow they can only take it so far, and then I'm like, oh shit, now we're in L.A., and I just keep on seeing this pattern of like all brilliant, talented black people city after city, but they get caught up at the same points, their vision only being able to rise so high. And I started looking, what is going on with that? What is getting locked? What is trapping all this genius?
No, I got a quick answer for your ass, but go ahead. Go ahead, Shaka.
I'm going to tell you the truth, man. Back in 1994, I came out of Paul Hill Jr.'s program here in Cleveland, Right to Passage program. And I'll be honest with you, man. The one thing that could have really changed my life and really expedited a lot of progress is if when I went to Ohio State, he would have instantly introduced me to the Right to Passage family down in Columbus. And now that I look back at it, I kind of feel some kind of way that I came up in that period where it was just like a program. You know what I mean?
No, now part of that was there was a slight little bit of beef. I'm just letting you know. 1994, there was a little bit of beef going on between within the cultural community at that time with the Rites of Passage, So that's probably why.
Is that some of that Greg Carr stuff?
Huh?
Is that some of that Greg Carr stuff?
No. That was this was more of the Rites of Passage clashing and splitting up shit. You know what I'm saying? Because at that time, when Shaka's talking about between like the early 90s, Rites of Passage became a meal ticket for many people. So rather than it being embraced as a culture, it started becoming embraced as a program. And some people took it just a little bit farther than others, and some people didn't agree with some of the decisions that other people made. So we had splitting and separating of ways. So he could have introduced you, but he might have not felt comfortable to do that at that point in time. You know what I'm saying? But but go ahead.
When you say, it makes me think of like when I'm in Black Studies program the year after that, and I remember this because like I almost flunked my master's exam over this shit. But they had this beef going on between the Afrocentrics and the Marxists in the program. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I wouldn't.
And I got that because they had one of the Marxists came up in my exam, and then she went upstairs and was talking shit about me, and I almost had to cuss her out, Dr. Paulette Pierce, because I don't care about saying her name. So she came up in my exam. It wasn't even because of me. It's because she didn't like the guy that was my thesis advisor. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so then she wanted to try to attack my thesis advisor through attacking me. And I'm like, but see, that's what I mean. It's like when you talk about Rites of Passage, it's like, even when I'm working with these pastors, it's like the things, there's a certain level I've seen black people go, and then past that, they start to stumble. They get to a certain place and they start to stumble. They get to a place. In fact, once it looks like it's much beautiful, that's when they start to stumble.
I have a question for you, and I want you to go back and look over it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it them stumbling, or is the world shaking up under their feet? Do you understand my question?
Rephrase that.
Is it them? I'm throwing it out there. Give you something to think about for a second. Is it them stumbling because they don't, you know what I'm saying? Because like a lot of times we say we scared of success, or is it the fact that the world starts shaking up under their feet? Because
like
we know.
I look at
Go ahead.
When I started working with the pastors, in Shaka, I was working with my uncle, and one of his boys had me come out to New Orleans because they were trying to build a faith-based credit union. So when I came out there, they had something like 30-something churches. And I did a whole bunch of work over the course of a year, and I got them up to almost 450 churches between New Orleans all the way up to Baton Rouge and then river parishes in between. So more than the average of 100 per church. It was over 50,000 black folk that we had kind of almost put together. But it was when the point of when it was really getting ready to start, where people just, it was like pressure burst pipes. It was like people just started making mistakes. They started doing like silly things that were like easy mistakes that they didn't have, including my uncle. I'm talking to my uncle. I'm like, he's trying to just do some copying paperwork instead of going and getting the proper names and addresses. And I'm like, dude, you gotta be kidding me, man. It's like, this is exactly where they're gonna look at you. You're starting a credit union, and they're gonna go and look at your paperwork.
Everything. Now,
yeah, I'm like, you can't be serious.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
What if it was an evangelical white church?
What?
See, what I'm trying to, because a lot of times some of the shit that we consider our fuck ups is not us getting shaky legs because we approaching success. It's because the whole world shakes up under us as we're moving towards that shit. I mean, because we go through the history. You know what I'm saying? Black Wall Street was on the verge of something big. You know what I'm saying?
This wasn't anything that was coming from the outside.
But hold on. See, but John, how can you say that, knowing what you know? How can you? I mean, really, do you really believe that?
Because I was actually like the secretary for all the minutes, and I had more meetings. Like I'm telling you, for like over a year, I was in the Wednesday night meetings that churches had, and some churches had Thursday night meetings, as well as going to churches on every Sunday, trying to just keep with people. And so I got to watch in detail, first of all, how a lot of big-ass churches run, which is fascinating.
Right. Sean, let me ask you a question before you go any further. So you talking about uniting all the churches in a parish, or was you talking about all of Baton Rouge?
I'm talking about pretty much almost all the black churches from Baton Rouge all the way to New Orleans.
Now, question. You ready?
Yep.
How would that affect the economic system in that state if you were able to be successful with that?
Oh, to revolutionize the game.
And you honestly believe that it's just people doing dumb shit on our end that stop that shit from happening?
Yeah, I watched it myself.
Okay. All right, John. I'm just saying. Listen.
Yeah. No,
John, I want you to think about this. Me and you, we have families, we have children, including Shaka. We run in the motherfucking city. And our wealth is based on a certain group being where they are. And we catch wind that this group of individuals got some little young motherfucker that's coming from up north talking about putting together some shit where they're gonna be stacking their money and they're gonna be putting the money in the bank, and they're gonna be doing some other shit. And then on top of that, some of the other conversations that you might have had, you don't think possibly that in some form or fashion the world started shaking up under your ass?
No,
Okay.
I think that we made a series of mistakes ourselves, and then a lot of people got shook because every meeting. I told you about this. Like,
I know. I hear you. I understand. But
every meeting they would sit there and they would talk about the white man. But I watched them lose. I watched what went wrong. I was literally at the center of everything that was happening. And I'm telling you I'm telling you that it was. We hadn't got to a point where they were even concerned about our shit. Like, this was stuff black men. Like, the biggest issue that we were having, honestly, was black men trusting black men with that much fucking money and power. That was the number one thing.
Okay.
Because I forgot exactly how much money it was per weekend.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like 450 churches. It was millions of dollars per weekend.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. Yeah.
And so the biggest thing became who
gonna be in charge of the money? Right? You know.
For example, you see Cedric Richmond. If you watch the news, you'll see Cedric Richmond. He was a congressman. Like, Cedric Richmond would be in our movies. I can't remember the other sister, but the two congressmen. You know what I'm saying?
Was he a congressman before this?
Huh?
Was he a congressman before this?
Was a congressman before this?
Yeah, you said he Cedric Richmond. Was he a congressman while y'all was doing this? Or,
yeah, he was.
Okay.
He was already by the time we were on the meeting.
And you wasn't. But John, now you saying you wasn't on nobody's radar yet?
Bro, I'm telling you, man.
Okay.
I never speak without thinking.
I know that.
So again,
but just because you think, but hold on, just because you think don't mean you always think right. That's like me. That's like me.
Like,
I know I think wrong all the goddamn time. So
I guess so, but I can't invest
all that thought in that. Right.
Energy in the possibility something that, like, from my perception wasn't a problem. Like, I can't invest a lot of energy that mysterious forces that I couldn't see even in that situation was the primary problem. I didn't see that, and while it's possible,
it's very improbable.
I saw us make enough of our own unforced errors in the situation. I didn't leave I left because of the errors that I saw brothers make. And I saw the way they tried to justify it, and it was in ways that we would, quote unquote, call niggery. Like, there was stuff where people were lazy or they wanted stuff to go faster than it needed to go. Mm-hmm. Like, there was a thing where, like, we needed to get signatures, a certain amount of signatures from every church. What the pastors needed to do was give me a budget and then send me to go church by church. And it would take months for me to do it all. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But then the paperwork, or they could have had a couple of people help me, which is if they wanted to go faster. But these pastors did not want to come up off of any money. Like, however they had their little money. Because, like, we work with a brother, I can't remember his name, Pastor Fredler, you can look him up. He was the head of the Baptist churches in the country. Like, in fact, he got called by Obama to be in congratulations because it was, like, the biggest church. He was basically the head of the biggest church organization in America.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 8,000 people in his church. I'm saying this because I don't know how much money they had coming in. But I'm talking about the biggest pastors in New Orleans, the biggest pastors in Baton Rouge, and they were being funny about coming up with a budget. But I'm telling you, it was more, I saw this because I'm working with the churches, and the church dudes are funny about coming up off of money, man. Like, they're funny about coming off of money.
Like Dope Boys. Dope Boys funny about coming off of money. I hustle this money. They,
I watched that show.
they're just like
Saints, and
Doughboys. But go ahead, Cleve.
No, I mean,
Clifton Powell in it.
Go. This toilet.
You know, with Clifton Powell in it, it's not right. It's not right. If Clifton Powell go to your church, I would go to a whole different church. I'm playing. I don't even know. You know what? I don't know for real. He a good actor.
All right, but go ahead. Finish your statement.
But I mean, there was patterns that I saw these pastors make, which were reminiscent of patterns that I've seen black people make over and over again. There's a threshold that I think I like to call it the cap at different times. But there's a threshold. There's a cap to where brothers will get to a certain place, and then all of a sudden, a lot of brothers like hit their head on something, and then a small group of people are able to go forward, but this larger group, like, I got this whole mental experiment that I've done over the years where I start talking about the 25 most talented brothers that I've met. And then I compare them to the 25 most talented white boys that I've met. And
there's no competition.
It's not even a competition.
There's no competition. You ain't got to tell me. There's no competition. You know what I'm saying?
It's not even a competition. Like my boy Steve that I was making films with in Columbus, Ohio. Steve now got an Oscar because I don't know if you saw Life of Pi, but he led the team that did the Tiger and Life of Pi.
Mm-hmm.
He got an Oscar for that shit. Me and him were working on shit there in Columbus, Ohio. This nigga got an Oscar now. He's black. I mean, he's white. I'm black. He wasn't more talented than me.
Mm-mm. He had some connections. You know what I'm saying? He had some West Asian magic that you are not aware of. But anyway.
And I mean,
go ahead.
He's talented, but I'm just saying, it's like, he comes out, we're doing stuff, we're starting out close to the same period of time.
Hey, I got a question for you. Do you and I'm doing this to lighten the mood because we're about to get up. Shouts out to Terra House, I see you. She'll be on the show next, Ujima, so we could talk about rites of passage in general. It's going to be a good conversation. Y'all need to tune in. But do you remember when you came over and you was doing the movie with Jamon in it? And my dog Power, I had him out there with all the people. And you had, I think it was an Asian friend that was there. Was it an Asian or a white dude? And Power just walked over to this motherfucker and peed on him.
Yeah, I remember that. White dude.
This wasn't the dude that you talking about. This wasn't the Life of Pi dude, was it?
No, that's a different dude.
But Power, I mean, all the black men standing out there, Power walked over to the white boy and just peed on him. And the only thing I could think in my mind was, that's my dog.
I just really know that, like, that's, I guess, is like, because I guess that's a part of what I think is like, how do you take apart that cap so that, like, all these talented brothers and sisters, like, when I was in the Bay, man, there's so many talented black people in the Bay, so many creative, intelligent black people in the Bay. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we gotta.
Even when I was in Houston, like, Houston got on my nerves in so many ways, but there were just so many gifted black people out there. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, so,
but there's a stopping point where they could get to a certain height and then they could just never rise above. See, that to me, giving a pathway to taking that group of people, because it's like, to me, like, if you look at our generation to me still has dropped the ball. But I feel like this moment is really that opportunity for our generation to be like, hey, maybe we didn't start out, because there's something about not being affected when you're young to allow you to get some. Because I think about my mother, and today being her birthday, some sweet mother, I miss her.
I'm glad you said, man, I'm so glad you said that. I got the name right here. Let me put that in the book right now. Keep on going.
But when I look, my mother was out there marching when she was 13 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
By the time she was 19, she was the vice president of SNCC in New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? Like, my mother grew up so deep in the movement. I don't know if that was good for her. I mean, in certain ways, I guess is what had to happen. You know what I'm saying? But honestly, man, the level of insight that I think we're at right now is a better place for us to step into the higher level from. Like, I had some ideas about some stuff when I was in Columbus, man, but it's like I gotta just pat myself on the floor, pat myself on the head, and be like, boy, whew, there's so much I had to learn.
Yeah, but also now what we have now is we have a tool where right now we're talking to somebody possibly in New Orleans. We possibly got a couple people watching from Ohio. We might have somebody watching in Africa right now. We might have somebody watching in Europe right now. We got other people that's going to be commenting on it later on or watching it from other parts of the world. Right now we have a technology where those individuals that are talented and have the drive can get on here and do something. This is why I'm trying to promote the book right now. You know what I'm saying? This is why I got the Lady Warriors book up here. This is why I'm trying to tell Shaka is certain things that we could do and in a certain way without having to include some of this fuckery that you used to have to do. You understand what I'm saying? Because we don't have to have middlemen. You got to remember, John, back then there was always a gatekeeper that you had to go through. And if I'm making a living, well, I'm not just letting anybody through the goddamn gate. This is where they were. Because you're right. You could be silent. If you got this many talented people to pick from, I'm going to pick the most malleable, talented motherfucker I could find so that I could mold him and shape him to deliver the message that I want and still make some goddamn money. Brother Kwame say, with fragility, black upcomings leads to white anger, which results in black people looking at ourselves as less than. White anger works secretly and deviously undermines. Terahasa say, Lady Warriors, she see the piece. Y'all go and check out the Lady Warriors. The Warrior Learns the Way of Values. Book 1 in Rites of Passage series that Terahasa is putting together. You know, also we ain't get to get into it because Brother John Calhoun got on the goddamn show and hijacked my goddamn show. But it's cool.
You invited me.
I don't even know what you're talking about. You was garbled. You made some shit up real quick. But anyway, but we still had a good conversation. But the next book one of the next books we're gonna be bringing out because I was trying to do a little work on it today after, you know, it's kind of hard doing the 8 hours and then coming back. But the African Deep Thought Workbook. And this book is based on the African openings to the Tree of Life. And it's basically a workbook. And we're going to use it for our tribal quotes. And you're going to be able to follow along. So you can get it in hardback or you could get it in the PDF form. In the PDF form, we selling it for $15, right? And y'all be like, oh, that's a lot of shit. But this is years of work. It's a good book. But the hardback is going to be more than that. Just letting y'all know right now. It's a beautiful book. Beautiful things going on inside. Enough room for you to write and stuff like that. So we're taking tribal quotes to a whole nother level. And like I said, you know, enjoy this shit while it's free, family. I'm just trying to let y'all know. Because like I said, we are creating quality things. Now, for those individuals that are supporters of Giami Journey, you already know. I already made a deal with Terahasa. This will be in your library once we get it done. So all those that are supporting Giami Journey already, you taken care of, right? But all those that's not, it's gonna be the PDF is gonna be $15, and I don't even know how much the hardback is. Terahasa, you out there, go and throw up a price for this hardback, cause some people gonna be one, you know. You know, some people want the book, right? And I could dig that, right? But you're gonna be paying for that too, because I'm like, yo, this is years
How
and
much
years.
was the Wakanda Forever discount?
And 50 pounds of vibranium, motherfucker. You know, cause down with Wakanda. I told you that. Down with Wakanda. You know.
Down with Wakanda.
Down with Wakanda, dog. Down with Wakanda.
Last-
I seen the movie. I seen the movie, and I seen how they were. Right? I mean,
Last-
huh? You say blasphemy, dog?
Yep.
Hold on, homeboy. They disguised themselves, came and infiltrated our neighborhoods. For what? Were they trying to help us? Homeboy wanted to do a revolution to help us, but his king would not allow him to do that. And then he left the boy there because the boy was half you. Wakanda don't want your black ass. Wakanda left you here and went over there, creating a Killmonger that came over there, right? Who had to be trained by the white men because they knew exactly, oh, he's Killmonger. He's one of our top agents. What in the fuck is he doing being one of your top agents when he could have been their top agent if they would have took him? They didn't accept you. Wakanda wouldn't allow your ass over there, homie.
But Wakanda is a stepping stone so that people can. Cause like, did you watch the cartoon?
Yeah, I watched the cartoon.
I mean, I like the movie, but the cartoon is doper to me in a
Oh,
lot of
yes,
ways.
it is. But it still has it. Wakanda had a border around it. Wakanda hid, made itself invisible while the rest of Africa was getting their ass whooped. I mean, if you look at the mythology, Wakanda hid.
To me, though, you're looking at Wakanda in the wrong way.
Okay, and I've been wrong before. Right? Shit, I'm getting comfortable with being wrong.
Because my whole thing is that fundamentally Wakanda is a creation of white people.
Yes, it is. Another problem. But go ahead.
Except though, I look at it as a stepping stone to doing the real thing. Because now when I look at Wakanda, I look at some of my movie concepts, and I got this thing that me and my boy came up with, which is a thing called The Schools, which I was like, that felt so far out of place. There's no possible way they would let me do my own little superhero thing.
Shit.
Now
we could do what we want. All we gotta do. Go ahead.
This is so symbolically. It's kind of like, in a certain way, Obama really. There was only so much Obama was going to be able to do for us. But to me, the fact that there was a black dude up there in the White House with his black ass wife from the South Side of Chicago.
Don't get me started on that. You just trying to hold me on. You starting shit on purpose.
Hey, John.
Yo.
All right. You can be honest if you don't remember this shit or not. But do you ever remember me talking about a sci-fi short about time traveling called See You Yesterday?
Can't say so.
Okay. Never mind. Because Spike Lee just came. Well, I just watched it on Hulu or Netflix. You got a time traveling short or movie called See You Yesterday. It's just interesting. I never really I can't even tell you if I put it to paper or not, but it's just like how the universe works. Same type of storyline and everything. I guess it's only like 6 stories, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've had that happen now. In fact, this whole thing that's happening in Seattle, Washington, with the chat that zone where people have occupied that zone. Mm-hmm. Like I have people calling me up, be like, "Damn, man, ain't this the bricks?" Because I had this TV show about the bricks, basically about like a group of black people that decided they was taking, they developed a vigilante organization that basically took over their own neighborhood. And it's like, when these cats did their little thing in Seattle, there's so much overlap between my script and that and what they're doing in Seattle. It was like, people was like, man, you have people read your script. It's people get on an idea, man. People will vibe out and just find some of the same spots.
Yeah, if we don't jump on it, the muses ain't gonna stand around and wait for your ass forever. But Brother Kwame say liberty is the doorway to struggle for striving for our better and best, and only the doorway. Shouts out to the black Yoda. I hear you. But family, I must say good evening to y'all. Like I said, I want to thank Brother John for joining us. I want to thank Brother Shaka. I want to send shouts out to Kwame, to Brother Quasi, to Mac, because Mac was on here as well, to my Aunt Georgia, who always supports my show, and to everybody else that might catch us later. Be on the lookout because John's book will be dropping soon. I will be having him on the show a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to try to get him to a point where maybe he could do his own show. Same with Shaka. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a matter of putting things together. And if y'all want to do it, we could do it. I'm just letting y'all know. But, yo, family, once again, I need to remind you, you are standing in the congregation of the mighty, the home of the stubborn minority, the place where your hustle builds muscle. This is Giami Journey Media.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is the Heart of a Simple production, and right now we just got done with Tribal Quotes, but this is more like a Digi TV presents John Calhoun and Brother Shaka, and it's been a Heart of a Simple production where we strive to blow up your old paradigms. Family, I made it through day 5. Day 4 of my fast. We are heading to day 5 tomorrow. All right, family, I am out. Peace out, y'all.
Okay. Holla.
Peace. Come here, Clay. All right, come on, sit down. All right, so this is what I'm streaming on. Right, this is the main screen. This is what the people seeing. This is my production screen where I'm able to set stuff up and decide on what scenes I want to put in. Right now, this is your challenge. I got a set of commercials that's playing. When the screen go black, I want you to go over to this computer, which you can use this mouse over here. Go ahead, move the mouse. Put it on the Chrome.
AYIMBUBE is an acronym. Mind, Body, and Universal Balance Empowerment Institute. It is also Zulu. It means lion, of course. With that, we're working with resiliency. We're working with trauma-informed care. With all of the mind-body connections that we need to not only address so many of our ills, but also to heal from them. one giant step that does it. It's a lot of little steps. Author unknown. How do you regulate?
Yoga, meditation, Bouvet, mind, body, universal balance, empowerment. We're waiting for you. How do you regulate?
This transitions, this moves this one over here. It's going to switch them. All right?
Okay.
So if you want to do that, go and try it. But then, before you get up, I want you to... Which one you stopping first?
This one.
Then you stop that.
To have melanin embedded in our skin is a gift.
Oh my gosh, when I say too black, you say too strong. Too black. Too strong? Yeah.
We were born to be great.
Why would he put that in? Why would he put that in? That's ugly!
Oh my gosh, when I say too black, you say too strong. Too black.